Last time we talked about what the dead become in Jamaica, about the Duppy, the spirit that lingers, that stays, that refuses to cross when something in life was left unfinished. Tonight we meet one of them, not a confused spirit wandering familiar rooms, not a lost thing searching for the life it was pulled out of. This one knows exactly where it is going, and you can hear it coming from a long way down the road. In Jamaica, when night falls over the country roads, the long stretches of dark between villages where trees press close on both sides, and the only light comes from whatever the sky is willing to give. There are things that move through that dark that have no business being there. The rolling calf is one of them. It takes the shape of a calf, 4 legs, heavy body, the size of a large animal, but everything else about it is wrong. Its eyes burn, not reflect light the way an animal's eyes do in the dark. Burn, red and orange, like coals that have been fed all night. Like something inside the body is on fire and the eyes are where the heat escapes. And it drags chains, heavy iron chains attached to its body, scraping and rattling against the road as it moves. You hear those chains before you see the fire of its eyes. The sound carries in the night, quiet, in a way that leaves no room for doubt about what is approaching. In Jamaican tradition, the rolling calf has territory, specific roads, specific stretches of dark it has claimed and returns to. People in rural parishes know which roads carry that risk after dark. They know because someone told them, because someone learned the hard way and made sure the knowledge survived them. If you encounter one, the fear is not just what it looks like, it is what it does. The rolling calf will chase you relentlessly, with a speed that makes no sense for the size of what it is, across fields, through bush, down roads that should have ended somewhere safe. People have described running until their legs gave out, pressing themselves into ditches, and hearing those chains still coming. Some accounts describe the road itself shifting, lengthening, a familiar walk home suddenly becoming something that never ends, the destination always the same distance ahead no matter how fast you move. That disorientation, the road that won't resolve, the familiar made unfamiliar, is one of the oldest signatures of Duppy interference in Jamaican tradition. The spirit world does not follow the same geography as the living one. The road that lengthens is not a detail added for drama. It's one of the most consistently reported elements across accounts. People who have walked a familiar path every night of their lives, suddenly finding themselves in something with no end. The geography of the spirit world layering itself over the physical one until the two are indistinguishable. This is the deeper terror of the rolling calf. Not just the fire of its eyes or the weight of its chains. It is the way it unmakes the familiar. The way the world you thought you understood reveals another layer underneath, one that has always been there, that you were simply fortunate enough not to see until now. Once you have seen it, you cannot go back to not knowing it is there. In Jamaican belief, the rolling calf is specifically the Duppy of a wicked person. Not just someone who died badly or whose crossing was incomplete. Someone who lived badly. Someone who caused harm deliberately, who exploited others, who accumulated cruelty the way other people accumulate good deeds. The figure most consistently associated with becoming a rolling calf. The butcher. The person whose livelihood involved the regular, deliberate spilling of blood. In Jamaican spiritual tradition, that accumulation, the blood, the death, the taking of life as ordinary work, tied the soul to something that could not cross cleanly, which means the rolling calf is not just a monster on a road, it is a consequence. It is what a life of cruelty produces when the body finally gives out and the spirit has nowhere clean to go. The chains it drags are not decoration. They are the weight of what it did. Every link a specific act. Every rattle a reminder that some things follow you past the grave. In Jamaican tradition, the rolling calf does not pursue everyone equally. It is drawn to those alone after dark on roads they have no good reason to be on. Those who carry guilt. Those who have done something that left a residue. Something unresolved. Something taken. Something owed that was never paid. The rolling calf recognizes that residue. It knows the difference between someone simply out late and someone who has something on them that it finds familiar. There are accounts passed down through families in rural Jamaican parishes of men who encountered a rolling calf and survived. Not unaffected, not unchanged, marked by what they saw in a way that stayed with them the rest of their lives, but survived. And how did they survive? It requires knowing exactly what to do when you hear those chains clank. In Jamaican tradition, you are never left without a way to defend yourself. Even against something like this, the penknife. If a rolling calf is pursuing you, if you can hear those chains behind you and the road won't end and the fire of its eyes is getting closer, you open a penknife and stick it into the ground. This stops it, not permanently, not forever, but long enough. The rolling calf is compelled to stop at the blade. Something in the iron, something in the act of planting the knife. It creates a boundary the spirit cannot immediately cross. In spiritual tradition has a boundary material, a material that the spirit world respects and cannot easily penetrate. The crossroads, where obeah work is done, where offerings are left, where the boundaries between worlds are thinnest, are marked in folk tradition by iron. The gate, the nail, the blade. In West African spiritual traditions, this knowledge of iron as a boundary goes back further than the Caribbean. The Yoruba deity Ogun, the spirit of iron, of the road, of the boundary between worlds, is one of the most powerful forces in the Yoruba pantheon. He traveled to the Caribbean through the memory of enslaved people and took root in every island that received them. In Trinidad, he lives in Orisha tradition. In Cuba, in Santeria. In Haiti, as Ogu. The penknife that stops a rolling calf is not a superstition invented in Jamaica. It is the surviving edge of something ancient, a knowledge about iron and boundaries and the spirit world that crossed the Atlantic in the minds of people who were given no luggage but carried everything anyway. There is a second protection in some accounts. Scatter something. Drop something small that must be counted. Seeds, rice, sand, and the rolling calf cannot move past it until every piece has been accounted for. You have heard this before. The Douan and the Sukuyan can both be slowed by the same compulsion. Across Trinidad and Jamaica, and further back into West Africa, the same protective logic appears. Scatter something small, force the counting, buy yourself enough time to survive. That consistency is not coincidence. It is the same deep knowledge expressing itself through different stories on different islands. The same understanding of how certain spiritual forces can be interrupted, carried across the ocean, and replanted in every place those people were taken. Now, the history underneath. The plantation world of Jamaica ran on blood, not metaphorically, literally. The slaughter of animals was constant, for the feeding of enslaved people, for the plantocracy's table, for the rituals of a society organized around production and consumption. Butchers occupied a specific and uncomfortable position in that world, necessary, paid, but permanently marked by what their work required of them. In a spiritual tradition that understood blood as sacred, that understood the taking of life as something that accumulated moral weight, The figure of the butcher carried a specific dread, not because butchers were uniquely evil people, but because their work, repeated daily across a lifetime, left a mark that the spirit world would eventually have to account for. The rolling calf is what that accounting looks like, but look wider than the butcher for a moment. In a society built on the exploitation and destruction of human beings, in a world where cruelty was institutional, where the infliction of suffering was legal and systematic and rewarded, there were many people who accumulated what the rolling calf tradition was describing. The planter who worked people to death, the overseer who used the whip without hesitation, the merchant who grew rich on the sale of human beings. The rolling calf tradition does not name them specifically. It does not have to. The community that kept this story alive knew exactly who it was describing. They told it to their children. They told it to each other, not as entertainment, as a promise, as a form of justice that the courts would never deliver and the church would never sanction, but the spirit world would enforce regardless. You may escape accountability in this life. You will not escape it in the next. That is not a small thing to believe when you are living inside a system designed to crush you, when the people with power over your body face no earthly consequence for what they do with that power. The rolling calf is what invisible justice looks like: heavy, inescapable, dragging its chains down every dark road until the debt is paid. In Jamaica, they still tell you not to walk certain roads alone after dark, not because of what might be there, because of who might be there, working off what they earned. True or not, it was remembered.